pre-construction contract to permit advance ordering of steel.
Okay, this one actually is an amendment because you have a pre-construction contract with Turner that you've had since 2009, I believe, or when they first came on board, and it's been amended once already to add into their contract the detailed completion of the design of the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing components, and they've completed that. And so the contractors that are actually going to do the mechanical and electrical plumbing work participated in the finalization of the design, which was a very good move. You don't often see that, and that was a very smart move by the district in as far as controlling cost and quality. This would be amendment number 2, and this is a contract that is in place for the purposes of doing everything pre-construction. Pre-construction meaning the main contract, pre-awarding and pre-bidding the main contract. We still have a main contract to bring forward to the board and the city, which we hope to do in May, 2 board meetings in May and a city council meeting in June, where we would approve the what we hope is the 59, no more than the 59.9, the $60 million contract you referred to, for the main construction with Turner. We don't want to impact the negotiations of that prematurely by awarding that contract too soon before it's fully bid by all the subcontractors, which is occurring this month. But if we wait until that point for them to be released to order the steel, then we can't meet the schedule for the high school. So Turner identified early on that if they had the ability to at least pre-order the steel earlier, then they would have a better chance of keeping the project on schedule. So what we did is we came up with a compromise that allowed them the authorization to award, and we addressed the risks of if we give them that authorization and then cancel that before the steel is built and delivered to the site, then there's a risk involved. If we cancel the whole project and never do the project, and you give us the authorization to award the steel this evening, we had to define a maximum risk payment there, or cancellation cost for the steel. And so I wanted it to be as low as possible. I wanted to come in and say that it was a maximum of $20,000 or something. But in back and forth with Turner, they felt like it needed to be $100,000. So basically, in a nutshell, if you approve this, we're authorizing them to pre-order the steel through the subcontractor of their choice now. But we haven't predetermined what the cost of that steel is. They still have to prove to us that they've competitively bid the steel. We still have to agree to the steel price and the overall $60 million price. And so we haven't predetermined what we're going to pay for the steel, but we have predetermined what the maximum cancellation penalty would be if they go ahead and order the steel starting tomorrow, if you approve today, and then we get to June and we don't reach agreement with them and we never do the project, then they're going to owe their steel supplier some of the upfront work that they do in delivering steel to the property. And that maximum number is $100,000. But it's a maximum. They don't automatically get $100,000. They have to prove what their raw costs are, and it's capped at $100,000. So I've spent a lot of time talking about something that probably will never occur because it's unlikely that the project will just be canceled and walked away. So it's a risk that you probably will not have to face. But it was a real risk, and in addressing that risk, it gave Turner the confidence that if you approve this amendment, they can go out there and order that steel. And we've sort of taken away their last excuse for being able to deliver the high school in 2015. There were 3 big things identified by Turner over the last 2 or 3 months that they said made the 2015 impossible. The first was the DSA schedule, and we were able to resolve that by going to DSA and expedite that. The second was the soils, because no one thought that the raw would be approved in May. They thought it would be approved in August. We now have the raw that's going to be approved here within the next week or 2. And then the final one was the steel, and they said, well, it doesn't matter how fast we move on the rest of the project. If we get to the point where we need a steel delivery and it's not there, the project grinds to a halt. We have to pre-order steel. And the last piece is this creative idea to pre-order the steel. And this one, Mr. Alfelt, we did run through our attorney, and the amendment that the attorney drafted is the attachment that you would be approving that would be incorporated in the pre-construction agreement. So
the 1.5 is paying for what?
the 1.5 is, at this point, is just an estimated value of all the steel in the high school building.
Okay.
1.5 is, where are you saying that?
That's in the contract.
It's in the amendment. It's in the attached amendment.
1.5 million. That's for all the steel in the high school building,
All the steel
not the rest of the
for the high
project.
school building.
That's what they'll be ordering at this point. It's
Yeah.
just the high school steel.
And that's just a value that they placed on it, that they think they could buy the steel if it was for the high school in isolation, because we're not fast tracking all the rest of the steel in the other buildings. So what this is worded such that we haven't agreed to the 1.5. That's just in there to give sort of an order of magnitude. They will bid all this piece and all the other piece of the steel together, and they'll have to reveal that they got 5 or 7 steel bidders, and the price of the steel for the whole project will be evaluated and negotiated along with the overall $59 or $60 million contract that we hope to bring to you.
I think I appreciate all of the magic that it seems to have happened in terms of DSA and DTSC, and as well as bringing this type of amendment forward so that we ensure we have the building on time in 2015. I think that's pretty remarkable. So, any questions for Mr. Gallagher on this?
Yeah, a couple. So, the scenario you presented where we would pay them up to $100,000 was if we don't reach agreement with Turner and we don't ever build the project. So what happens if we don't reach agreement with Turner, but we seek and reach agreement with another contractor? Is it?
We would be liable for the $100,000. $100,000 is to cover Turner's cancellation costs with their supplier. So obviously, if we completed the project with somebody other than Turner, and Turner just went away, then they have borne a cancellation fee that we would have to reimburse them for up to a maximum of $100,000.
Well, maybe this isn't possible in the compressed time frame that we're talking about, but yeah, I guess I would, I'm assuming that we'll work things out with Turner. We've been working with them for a couple of years now on this.
No, more than a couple of years.
More than a couple of years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Turner's been on board
Since like 2000. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've been a part of the team the whole way. So we sort of have a
Relationship.
kind of two different types of relationships with them. They are a team member and a very good one. But at the end of the day, we do have to roll up our sleeves and come to a number. And they will want a higher number, and we will want a lower number, and we have to hammer that out through a negotiation. And so they're our team member, but it's also business.
Right,
Exactly.
and we're only going to be able to truly negotiate with them if they understand we have other options. We could build this with another contractor, and
Well,
if
that's
if
definitely a real option.
Yeah.
And another option is that we have a city as our partner, and along with the guaranteed max price on the Turner contract, the joint occupancy agreement needs to be approved. That needs to be approved in order to get the
Five
full
pieces.
financial participation of the city. So if we're not in budget, and
burden's on them in that instance with steel.
Right.
And believe me, that, I have repeatedly communicated that to them. Roy communicated that to them before me. That is,
Fact.
Yeah. So my couple of my questions are, number one, if things fall apart with Turner, assume that it, you know, I'm assuming we've been working on this along with the city. We'll iron out a joint occupancy agreement. But if things fall apart with Turner, does that effectively preclude opening the high school in 2015, or is there?
Totally.
That,
Totally.
you know, there's no, is there time to enter into a new agreement with another contractor and stay on task?
there is no contingency of time for anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take everything
We're already behind.
that everybody can do to get a high school completed in a year.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
If you remember, the original
Yeah.
schedule was
No.
everything comes in 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are really, so just the short answer to your
No.
question is any kind of changing of direction right now, just will make that.
It's gonna, yeah. So, nonetheless, if that happened, even if we're all delayed to 2016, and we've given Turner the go-ahead to buy the steel, and they, you know, is there an advantage to us to saying, well, you bought, you ordered the steel, we'll pay for the steel, we'll pay for your cost of ordering the steel and processing, just give the steel to our new contractor, and we'll build it. Instead of starting from scratch, paying to cancel steel here and paying to order steel there, when it might be higher because of inflation or whatever.
Something like that is very rarely done.
Mhm.
It is done.
Mhm.
I've seen it done. I've seen the contractor B take over for contractor A and pick up his materials and move forward. And it can be done. It can be successfully done. It is very rare.
Mhm. And I mean, we're talking about contingencies on contingencies at this point, but I guess I would feel more comfortable that, you know, in the event of that contingency, that we have a provision that would say, you know, we want the steel if you've ordered it to deliver to our new contractor, and we'll pay for those costs.
So I hear you. So instead of
Assuming we,
automatically
yeah,
just taking the hit on the cancellation.
right.
Let's keep the process going and negotiate that with a new contractor or through Turner to a different subcontractor.
Right.
And keep our options open. I think we have that. I think we have that. I don't know if you are suggesting to add any language in your action tonight that we can then incorporate before we execute the amendment with Turner. We'd be happy to do that.
So, I mean, I think it is probably adding a sentence. It's something that you know, at the district's, I mean, again, the max, not changing the max 100,000, if that's what they incurred to order the steel, but, you know, at the district's option, we may, you know, have the right to continue with the purchase of the steel and direct it to be delivered to another contractor of our choice.
I think that's a great amendment. I'm jotting that down. And, if you want to include something similar to that in your action so that we know
Right.
we have board
Mhm.
approval, then we'll make sure and get that language in.
Okay.
Okay. Do you think that would be an issue with Turner?
Well, that was gonna be my question.
Okay.
Well,
Mhm.
I mean, I can just say that if, you know, this is the amendment you have,
Mhm.
and this is what we're adding to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think we probably.
Yeah, and convey the board's continued hope that we're going to get this done. They've been a partner of ours for a long time. We're not questioning that. Just I would think it's almost 6 of one, half dozen of another to them if they got the steel. Rather than send it back, they could send it to contractor B. If that's going to be cheaper for us.
I can't imagine them having a problem with that. What this amendment, the $100,000 in there is they just don't want to not have the cost. They don't want to have incurred a cost on behalf of the project that then they can't get reimbursed.
Yeah, that's understandable.
They get reimbursed for that cost. It
Good
shouldn't
amendment.
matter to them what the ultimate disposition of the steel is.
Right, right.
So
That's my thought. Okay.
Good amendment.
All right, so then I would move that amendment into the motion that we adopt amendment number 2 to the Turner Construction Preliminary Service Agreement dated April 16th, 2012, with the amendment that we add a provision clarifying that at our option, at the district's option, the steel can be delivered or shall be delivered to an alternative contractor if we so choose, if in the event that we don't reach agreement with Turner.
Second.
I'm making it so easy for me. Any objections to that?
Nope.
So we have a finished product. Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Really appreciate it. And
Oh, we didn't do public comment?
oh,
Very
sorry
good
about
point.
that. I apologize. Please, before you go, I'd like to
comment.
include an opportunity for a public comment. Thank you for that catch.
Want to ask one question? Does it specify that it will be new steel and not used?
Good point. Good point.
So we're talking
Good
new
point.
steel.
Good point.
New steel. All right.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Any other public comment? Thank you. Thanks for that catch. So we now have an amendment to include for the pre-construction contract. We'll now move on to